Hey, what's going on, YouTube? So today the Amway Coaches Top 25 poll came out for 2015 for college football. And to be honest, I think it was a pretty good poll, pretty accurate, but as always, there were big winners, big losers, and teams that were ranked right where they should be. So I'll go ahead and start with my big winners. My first set of big winners is Baylor and TCU. TCU's at number 2, Baylor's at number 4. If you haven't seen the rankings, actually, then I'll put the complete list of rankings in the top, or complete top 25 rankings list in the description below. But anyway, TCU's ranked at number 2. I believe that that's a good spot for them. They might be the second best team in the country coming in this year. They're definitely one of the most talented teams in the country. But at the same time, they didn't even make the college football playoff last year. They haven't been proven much in games of that magnitude. This is the first year going in with the target on their back. So being ranked at number 2 above teams like Alabama, Oregon, Baylor is a big win for them. Baylor is my next big winner. They're ranked at number 4. To have them slotted inside the college football playoff, inside the top 4 to begin the year, does make them a big winner. They lose Bryce Petty, quarterback. They do return the likes of like Chuck Linwood, Katie Cannon on offense. But at the same time, they don't have proven leadership yet, and they have not proven they can win big games yet, having lost 2 really big bowl games in the last 2 years. So having Baylor at 4, TCU at 2, those are 2 huge winners out of the polls. My next big winner is Oregon. They're ranked at number 5 to start the year. Obviously, they lose Marcus Mariota and they lose Eric Armstead on defense, 2 top 10 picks, 2 tremendously talented and athletic guys. I don't think a lot of people realize how much losing Mariota is going to affect that offense. Mariota was able to stage off a lot of upsets last year. Actually, not just last year, in the last couple of years. And really has helped Oregon. Obviously, I think he was the entire reason that Oregon made the national championship game last year. I understand they made the national title game, and they do return a lot of talent, but I think having Oregon above the likes of Auburn, Michigan State, teams that return a little bit more proven talent, definitely makes them a big winner. So Arkansas is my next big winner. They're ranked at number 20. I believe they are the highest ranked 6-loss team. They are only one of 2 ranked 6-loss teams in the polls this year. Arkansas, they did have big wins against LSU and Ole Miss to finish off the year last year, shut out both teams. But at the same time, Arkansas doesn't really have a proven quarterback, one that has ever shown that he can take over a game. Brandon Allen has been very inconsistent over his last few years playing. They did return 2 great running backs with Alex Collins and Jonathan Williams. They expect to have another great offensive line this year, but at the same time, they're in one of the toughest, if not the toughest division in college football in the SEC West, and I don't know if I really see them finishing the year inside the top 25. My next big winner is LSU. They're at number 13, putting them ahead of teams like UCLA, Arizona State, Georgia Tech, even Wisconsin. Teams that, were some teams that were double-digit win teams last year. LSU did lose 5 games last year. They lost a lot of games they really shouldn't have with the amount of talent that they had on their team. They have one of the best running backs in the country in Leonard Fournette. They do have a little bit of an inconsistent quarterback situation, though, with Anthony Jennings and Brandon Harris. See if they can figure out which quarterback that can right the ship this year. But I do think LSU is one of the biggest winners out of the polls. So my big losers, maybe my biggest loser, Michigan State. I don't know if you can really call them the biggest loser, ranked at number 6, but they are ranked below teams like Baylor, Oregon, teams that have less returning talent, less proven talent on the team than Michigan State does this year. Michigan State was able to beat Baylor in the Cotton Bowl last year. They do have a returning quarterback in Connor Cook and a returning defensive end in Shalik Calhoun, 2 guys that could very well be top 10 picks this coming year, and 2 guys that could very well lead Michigan State to a college football playoff appearance. My next biggest loser is Mississippi State, a team that's not even ranked this year. The fact that they're ranked behind teams like Tennessee, Arkansas, even Boise State, don't really get it. I do understand Mississippi State had a rough year finishing off the year last year. They are in the deepest division in college football, but at the same time, they returned Dak Prescott, a guy that led them to an eventual number 1 ranking for a little bit last year. I think they should be at least ranked in the top 25. My next loser is Michigan. I'm not saying they should be ranked inside the top 25, but they did only get 1 vote. They were below teams like NC State, UNC, even Georgia Southern. Teams that I don't know if they will even have winning records this year, teams that will be fighting just for a spot in a bowl game. Michigan very well could finish inside the top 3 in their division in the Big Ten. I believe Jim Harbaugh, while it might be a rough first year, Michigan will right that ship. I think they could easily win 7-8 games this year. I think they'll finish the year with more than one vote inside the top 25. My next biggest loser, I'd say besides Michigan State, they might be a bigger loser than Michigan State. But Arizona, they're ranked at 22. They're below Arizona State. They're below UCLA, 2 teams that I really believe will finish below Arizona this year. I know that's just my personal prediction, but Arizona returns a ton of freshman talent. Anu Solomon, Samaje Wright, Nick Wilson at running back. All 3 guys had tremendous freshman seasons. All guys that, will be returning key pieces this year, especially Scooby Wright on the defensive side of the ball, might be the best defensive player in the country. So I just don't see Arizona at number 22. I think they'll finish the year ranked higher, if not winning the Pac-12. So move on to my hits, the teams that I think were ranked right where they should be. My first hit is Missouri. They're 23. Missouri's a team that normally, since they've been in the SEC, has started the year outside the top 25, reigning back-to-back SEC champions. They've proved year in and year out that they're able to defy expectations. If I can make a comparison, they're kind of the Kansas State of the SEC. They really are the underdogs coming out of the SEC East every year. Georgia's normally the favorite, but Mizzou's found a way to defy expectations and win out again, like I said, the last 2 years. So they do return Harold Brantley, Russell Hansbrough, Matty Mock, 3 guys that could definitely be stars in the SEC this year. See if Matty Mock can get a little bit more consistent this year. But if they do, they could definitely win another SEC championship. My second hit is Georgia Tech. They're ranked at number 17. Team that returns a quarterback in Justin Thomas that led them to a big New Year's Six bowl game last year. A team that could very well win their ACC division this year in a wide-open ACC. Florida State does lose a lot of talent, so Georgia Tech could be one of those sneaky teams that could sneak their way into the ACC championship, if not win it. My next hit is Clemson. They're ranked at 12. Like I said, ACC is pretty wide open this year. Clemson and Florida State are the odds-on favorites to win the conference this year. But Clemson could definitely be a dark horse, not just for the ACC. I wouldn't really call them a dark horse since they're one of the favorites, but they could definitely be a dark horse for the college football playoff. Deshaun Watson returns this year, tremendous quarterback, dual-threat quarterback that can beat you in multiple ways, and I could definitely see Clemson finishing inside the top 10, if not having a college football playoff berth. And my last hit, Ohio State. Kind of hard to get this one wrong, but Ohio State at number 1. They were the clear number 1, too. Obviously, they return all 3 quarterbacks. Braxton Miller's moving to tight end, but Cardale Jones and JT Barrett will be fighting for the starting quarterback job. I personally believe that JT Barrett should get the job. He proved himself that he can carry that team through a regular season last year, besides one tough loss to Virginia Tech. But Ohio State, there's no reason to put them anywhere below number 1. They return a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. Joey Bosa was just suspended today for, I believe it's 1 or 2 games, so that could hurt. But at the same time, they still have a ton of talent. They could step up. Ezekiel Elliott, JT Barrett, it goes on. But I do think that this is one of the best coaches polls in a long time. Very accurate list. Like I said, there's always going to be people that disagree with the list. It's rankings in college football. People are always going to have bias, want their favorite teams up at the top. But I do think this was a pretty good poll this year. Very interested to see how the AP poll turns out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.